Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you for being here today. This is actually, I may have entered it wrong in the system. It's actually supposed to be project number 2, which is called the proposal. So I didn't want you to get the idea that this is for non-technical audiences, because this is a little technical. The Weather Service, I have an idea for a new kind of service that's going to fit the modern era, new capabilities that we've only really had since about 2011 or so. And now with smartphones, you know, you can get notifications on your smartphones that we just weren't possible before. So what I'm proposing, and this is probably in some people's way right here again, that's low. What I'm proposing is it was a mouthful, a user configurable notification service for hydrologic forecasts. Basically what this is a user would be able to set the conditions that they are interested in for the place that they want, for the time period that they want, for the probability of exceedance, you know, their risk that they're concerned about, that they start to get concerned at, and you know, for the geographic location that they want. And they'd be able to they wouldn't have to monitor our forecast information, they'd actually just get something pushed out to them that says, okay, you better pay attention, call the Weather Service, you know, conditions are right for the area that you're concerned about. So if you look at traditionally what our service has been for people, our flagship product in the River Forecast Center is something called the graphical river forecast. So you have a forecast or a hydrologic model we run. This is the center line, it's the time that we run it. So this was run on Monday. The blue line is the river stage observed, so it's at about 1.4 something feet. And then it was forecasting the river to go up to about 18 feet here on, actually yesterday, this because I prepared this a couple days ago. And then it trails off, the forecast trails off. And this shows you how much rain is in the watershed above it. Actually rain plus snow melt, there's no snow melt in this case. We will have a flood stage defined at this point. We do have one. It's at 33 feet, so it's off the chart here. Flood stage is way up here, so it's nowhere near flood stage. Okay. If a user is interested in flood stage, and this is fine, you know, that they can go and look and see if it is above flood stage. If it gets to be flood stage, what the River Forecast Center would do is we would put out a flood warning if it's within about a day of when the river's expected to flood. So people will get notified. Okay, the river's going to flood. All right. This is traditional service. You can't really configure this. We do push information out, but it's only for when the river's going to go above flood stage. Now, what about if you're interested in other sorts of thresholds? Well, if you're interested in other sorts of thresholds, we don't really have anything for you for that, other than you can monitor and see, oh, it looks like it might get up to that level or not. So wouldn't it be great if you could have a flexible system where you can configure how you got your information. So this is a new way of displaying information. This is already available, but this is the information. This is the same sort of thing except for 10 days, river forecast. This is the forecast we saw earlier. It's that blue and green line. So it only goes out the 5 days, and then we have 5 more days of information here. These are 60 different possible outcomes for what the river might do. So it's a probabilistic forecast. So it's a cloud of information. This is what a monitor threshold here. Your flood stage is actually right up about here, on here. So none of the instances of these, what we call traces, go up to flood stage. But they go higher than, some of them go higher than what the deterministic forecast shows, our single valued forecast. So what's the likelihood that the river might get up, you know, to some other level? Well, we have that in a sort of a canned view here. These, what we call box and whisker plots, these show the probability of exceedance for the river. So the box goes from 75% exceedance up to a 25% exceedance. The whiskers go from a 90% exceedance down here to a 10% exceedance on the top line. So basically, the river is not very likely to go above that 90% line, but we saw there were some instances that actually got above that. And the river, the 90% exceedance, the river's going to get at least that high in all percentile probability, right? So, and the black line shows the deterministic forecast overlaid with that. So if a user was interested in, say, several days out, I want to know if there's more than a 10% chance that the river could get up to some stage like this, then this would notify, if that was the river stage they were interested in, they would receive a notification on this proposed service. So how would this work? The one thing is you could have a user interface. This is something that exists experimentally in our office. And it's, again, the same sort of information, but it draws boxes around the probability associated with the time of the peak and the probability of the extent of the peak, so how high the river is going to get. And it sort of boxes out the 10%, 90% exceedance for that whole thing. So there's uncertainty in when the peak would occur, and there's uncertainty in how high the river is going to get. And the plus sign there shows the 50% exceedance for both the timing and the river stage. So this is, kind of most likely the river is going to end up somewhere in this box based on the information we have at this initial time. So a user could kind of go in, maybe they could click on this and set their probability exceedance level. They could set what sort of time or what we call lead time that they're interested in. Maybe they're not concerned until 24 hours out. That's all the notice they need. And then whatever risk threshold they're interested in, they say maybe I'm interested in anything more than a 10% chance of the river getting up at least this high within 24 hours. And for this location, what else could they set? They could set. So we have lead time. So it could be, based on time of year. We've got customers. We had an instance in 2011, right at the start of when we were putting out this kind of information. The Army Corps of Engineers they were doing work in the Napa River channel. It's dry in the summertime, pretty low. The river's really low. Well, everything got delayed, as government projects frequently do, big construction projects. So they started to get concerned in the fall that we might get a rainstorm that would bring the river up, and they could get caught with this expensive equipment in the channel and lose a lot of money and time and everything. Well, a user like that could say, okay, for the next 2 months, I want to know at least 3 days out if there's more or any possibility greater than 0 of the river getting up to some level that would impact their work. So that's the vision, is that a user could actually go in and configure something like that, and they just get an email notification. Now, people talk to us, and the Corps of Engineers talk to us, and we are active in the Weather Service in what we're calling impact-based decision support services. So our job is not just, our information has no intrinsic value. It's only useful to the extent that people can make decisions and mitigate their risks. So if we can, and we can go out, we can find what people's sensitivities are, but sensitivities are transitory and they're varied, and people's risk levels vary all over the place. If you're, an example is if you're going to get on an airplane, and they tell you when you're getting on the plane, well, we've got a 25% chance of crashing today, or even a 5% or a 1% chance. You're probably not going to get on that plane. But if if you're going to go to a sporting event and there's a 20% chance of rain, that's no big deal. So everybody's got their own threshold of concern that they have. Well, this kind of a system would really allow somebody to set it up based on their preferences. And that's really the benefits that I want to drive home to you today. Is we'll call this we've got to give this a name. Maybe we'll call it the Notifier 5000. Okay. The Notifier 5000 is amazing. It is simple. It's configurable to meet your needs. You can set your conditions for only those places that you're interested, for only those times that matter to you, for your personal risk profile that you're concerned about, and for the lead time that you're concerned of. And you get a notification right to your smartphone, either a text message or an email. And with that could be the beginning of, okay, well, I better call the River Forecast Center now and talk to them. There's another benefit to this system that I see. not only can we meet all the needs that are out there for people that we couldn't possibly do if we tried to meet and talk with everyone that had different needs, but we can harvest the data from their settings and actually learn what are people sensitive to, when are they sensitive to it, and then we pay attention to those places maybe a little bit more, and we could actually work to direct our resources to improving those kind of forecasts and meeting those needs. And in the world of limited time, resources, and money, shrinking budgets, I think, are on the horizon. All of these things that are kind of gloom and doom, this is really how you have to respond to that. So I urge you to consider the Notifier 5000. Thank you very much for listening, Mr. Toastmaster.